just a couple days ahead. Again, order matters, right? Side, angle, side, the angles in between the two sides. Angle, side, angle, you have two angles and the side in between them, right? So it says if two angles and the included side of one triangle are congruent to two angles and the included side of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. And again, it's up to you if you want to write all that down, but they're just telling you which ones correspond. Angle A goes with angle D, the side AB goes with the side DE, and angle B goes with angle E, which means we have another one that we can use to prove triangles. So the tough part's going to be when we have a test, you're going to have more than just two ways to prove triangles. You have to look at what you're given, what can I find, as to how to prove this.
Pretty much, you've got any three things and you just about solve it.
Almost any three things, except
angle, side,
side is the trick to that, right? Or angle, 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 right? I think those are the two that we don't have. Angle, angle, angle gives you congruent triangle, similar triangles, but not necessarily congruent. And so you're right, Chandler. All of those two, I think, are going to work. So, write a two-column proof. Wait, do you need me to go up more still?
It's on the very last slide. Oh, God.
I wish we had a little instant.
I wish you'd complain a little more.
Wish granted.
Why are you looking at me? She's the one who said it.
Why do you have to wish things all the time? Like, it's really
Because we're needy. And you're not needy. You don't need
Quit
to
wishing
wish.
things.
You know what? I wish you just.
You know what? Allison has a headache.
No, it's actually gone.
Well, bring it back.
All right, what do we got? L is the midpoint of WE. And what does this symbol mean again? WR is parallel to EV. So don't disregard those given statements, right? That's why I think it's so important that you actually write down what it says. Because if they give me parallel lines, I know I'm probably going to be looking for some angle relationship, like corresponding angles, or alternate interior angles, or alternate exterior angles. Because why else would they tell me that two lines are parallel? They give you the information for a reason, right? So they really gave me no sides or angles, did they? I had to do all the work. Grace.
So on our picture, could we go ahead and say WL and EL are congruent?
All right, yeah. So L is the midpoint of WE. So we can say this is congruent to this. And let's just go ahead and write that as our second statement. WL is congruent to EL. It really should be EL, right? Because order really should matter. Maybe it's good practice to start doing that. I always look at what I'm trying to prove. WL, EL. Make sure they correspond. And what would I write as my reason there, Grace? They tell me that WR is parallel to EV, so if you wanted to show that, we could put the little arrows on that if you want. Or you could just remember that. Can anybody tell me anything else we know?
My name's Chandler.
And L is the midpoint. Don't those angles have to equal with the vertical angles? So, where L is right here, 5 vertical angles, do we know that these two angles are congruent to each other? I believe that's true. Oh, my picture. And I'm going to actually write it out as angle RLW is congruent to
Your L's and angles are really close together.
angle
Would it be
DLE. I was writing a check this morning for daycare, and I was looking at a previous check I wrote to the post office that looked like I wrote a check for like $104. And I was like, why did I write a check for $104? And then I realized that the 04 was a 9. It really said, it was really a 9 or something. I don't even know. And I was like, I stared at it for a long time, and I was like, oh, I think that's fine.
So it's $109, not $104.
Well, no, it wasn't 100. It was I don't even know. It was.
The one was supposed to be
Just kidding.
Supposed to be 900.
It was $4 and I thought it was $401. That's what I thought it was, which is much more freak out. But my O and my 1 somehow were my 9. Like, it was weird. It was just messy handwriting, which means I shouldn't complain about my handwriting because it's not going to get better. There's no fixing it. I'm old. Even when I try to write
My
notes,
mom
it doesn't
is
work.
gonna turn 40 on the 26th on Thanksgiving, and she goes, "Gosh, I just now realized my age is really starting to hit me."
My mom's 45.
I think there's a theorem that says vertical angles are congruent. If you just said vertical angles. Your mom's 38.
Yeah.
I'm 33.
My mom's like 40.
You're
44,
33.
45.
No, 44.
My mom's 52.
My aunt's 38. They're twins. That stinks outside. I think that's how old my dad is. One time I accidentally called my aunt mom.
Okay, so we have proved a side and an angle. So the only other thing we have to work with here are these parallel lines. So I have this parallel line. I have this parallel line. Could either one of those lines be transversals? Yes. I drew this line through here.
I thought you meant one of the parallel ones.
No, there's my parallel line.
What about RL too?
They could be also, we really could show that all the angles are congruent, but either way you go, if you pick a transversal, what kind of angle relationship could I use to show that these two more angles are congruent? Alternate interior angles. With this angle, alternate interior angle with this angle. If they give you parallel lines, you're going to have to be using that every time. So what do I say? Angle RWL is congruent DEL. And what am I going to say is my reasoning? Alternate interior angles theorem. Did I just prove that these triangles are congruent? What do I have right now in each of these triangles?
You gotta switch their
What do I have? I have an angle,
angle.
a side, in between, and an angle. Is that the one we just learned? Angle, side, angle. It's a big hint when this example says using angle, side, angle to prove. So I can say triangle WRL is congruent to triangle EDL by angle, side, angle. A little bit longer proof than what we did before, but we could use one. All right, open your Chromebooks to goformative.com. And you should find an assignment called 4-5, check for understanding.
Okay, I clicked it.
And number 1 should say, answer the number 1, check your progress, ABCD. Yes? GoFormative.com, 4-5, check for understanding. There's 3 questions, but I only want you to do question 1 right now.
Yay.
And I want you to look at this problem and see if they've completed almost the whole proof for you. They're just asking you which way are they proving these triangles are congruent. And this is on your paper too, so if you want to write on your picture, right? Like write what's marked. Write what they're telling you. That's kind of what you want to do.
What check for understanding?
4-5,
Oh, there it is.
check for
It's
understanding.
not blocked.
Is there any way that we could like delete dollars so we were on like our dashboard?
I think I have to. Okay. I can do that. I was leaving them just because they were grades, that if you wanted to go back and look at them, if you had issues at any point with the grade. But I can delete some of the old ones. I'll delete the ones from last time, since those grades are done already. Are we answering? Are we?
We are answering. No, we are not. I do. Oh, it's okay.
you can move your Chromebook down to the floor, or if you don't want to sign out of it, like, you don't have to sign out, but like, some way show me that you hear that. Or I'm just gonna go. There's only been 2 responses. Oh look, it shows me 2 responses.
Oh, what did we?
I responded.
I responded, but you just hit submit.
You have to hit
I don't think you have to submit. Let's see.
I should be up there.
11 responses. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna just go with it then.
That's much better.
That's almost everyone. One more check. 13 responses. All right, I'm checking. Does it tell you if you're right or not to use submit?
Go. Oh, there's a little green and red box.
There are. It tells me if you're right or wrong. All right.
So
So let's see. All they do is tell us these parallel lines. So they tell us their proof says angle ABD, that would be this angle, is congruent to angle CDB because of alternate interior angles. And angle ADB is congruent to angle CBD, also because of alternate interior angles. And they tell us that BD is congruent to DB by the reflexive property. So what did they just show us there to prove that? They showed us an angle, a side, and an angle. So it has to be. Right, we only know one side. We don't know the other sides. We only know that one side in the middle. Yes? Okay. All right. The other way that I have, the last way is angle, angle, side. So notice still 2 angles and 1 side, but the difference is now 2 angles and not an included side. So 2 angles and the non-included side of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding 2 angles and the side of a second triangle, then that's enough. So 2 angles and any other side would be enough to prove. Oh, that's kind of like the one from our notes, these overlapping triangles.
what is the funniest theorem? Like theorem. Like the one, like just the name is funny.
I don't know.
I see what you're trying to do.
You're trying to make that a bad word.
No, I'm not. I just want to like know what's like a funny name.
I don't know. I'll have to think about that one.
Funny name or something.
There's a line in conic sections that's a Latin word, and it's called the latus rectum.
Okay, that's funny.
But it.
Rectum.
Okay.
Sorry.
There you go. That's what I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. What was the first word?
Lattice.
Oh, that's okay. Lettuce. Lettuce.
Yeah, I was thinking
Okay.
I think it's just spelled rectum. But it's Latin, like it's Latin. I don't know. It's a math word. Like
They were saints that.
Okay. Write a paragraph proof. Here's what my lovely handwriting. Let's see if I can find a fancy font. Oh, that would be the type though. That won't work.
My grandma will have this.
I'm gonna use the calligraphy pen here.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So, oh, that's really fast. We are given that KL is congruent to JM. And that angle NKL is congruent to angle NJM.
I think that your marker is.
So we know that KL, this whole segment, is equal to this whole segment. I don't really know how to write that. I'm gonna just mark it like that. And angle NKL, that would be this angle, is congruent to NJM, which is this angle. So we have a side and we have an angle. Do we know anything else? Do we know any other angles or sides? I'm I'm guessing we're gonna use angle, angle, side. So look at the other angles in those triangles.
Well, it says right here, use angle, angle, side, triangle.
Yes. So you're gonna have to show me that some other angles. Another angle is congruent. So we got this angle here, angle L, right? So angle KLN and angle JMN. Or what's the other angle in those triangles?
I'm gonna say N.
Do both of them share that same angle in the triangle? We haven't used reflexive property in angles yet, but do you see how this angle is the same angle in both of those? Any clue what I'm saying there?
Yes.
Like it's the same angle in. So what would I say here? Should we write out the three letters, or can we just say? I'm gonna be real wordy here, okay? Since angle N is shared in both triangles, then we can say angle N is congruent to angle N by the reflexive property. Therefore, or here's a word we don't use in math very often. Moreover,
I'm not sure I've ever said that.
I know I've only ever used it in math. Moreover,
I've written it and like.
oh my gosh, I was about to not do this right. Triangle NKL is congruent to triangle NJM by angle, angle, side. Did I prove what they asked me to prove? No, I failed.
You went right back to the given.
Well, that was an angle, but yes.
Oh, okay.
I changed from angle to triangle.
Oh, okay.
But I just did that so I would know the right order without
It's
having to
just
look at the picture.
difficult because like it's the same letters, but I.
Right, but
You
yeah.
got it.
No, what did they ask me to prove, Chandler?
No, but you can prove it.
So now how can I say, so LN is congruent to MN because why? How do I know if the triangles are congruent that those segments are congruent?
It says it in previous thing right there.
What do I write there?
I don't know.
Oh, because it's shared. Well,
How do I know if I prove the triangles are congruent that every side and every angle are now congruent?
Because they congruent. That's what congruency is. They're the same.
because of
CPCTC.
What's that stand for again?
Corresponding parts of congruent triangles. You win a prize, Sydney.
Well, I could have said.
Who gives junior mints on Halloween?
I don't know.
Junior mints are
Why is it in a bag?
Yeah, I don't, this is sketchy, I don't wanna eat it. I'll eat it
If
for
you're gonna
you.
complain, then I'll just flash stars inside.
Once again, way to complain.
Creepy.
Make sure you prove what they're trying to prove. I was about to stop at the triangles, and then I looked up at what I was trying to prove. All right, back to the Chromebooks. Oh, a flow proof. It's my favorite.
At least your son didn't eat it.
Oh, you're.
I don't know if I told you guys the story of why I have a big bag of Halloween candy here, but I had too much Halloween candy at my house. My kids had too much Halloween candy, so I made them each get 20 pieces of candy that they want, and I brought the rest to school. Like mostly I stole their Halloween candy.
You're so
That's so rude. It's too much candy. They don't need that much.
dude.
I just threw it away. You had to
You just
contribute
God,
to
they're
class.
gonna eat it anyway. Why'd you throw it away?
I took a test.
If you're gonna throw it away, just give it all.
No, well, I have it. We're gonna get it out of the way. Tomorrow we'll do better. I didn't think you guys could handle it because you're out of control sometimes in here without candy.
Oh,
But in my other classes, when you give a correct answer, I throw candy at you to get rid of Halloween candy.
here you go.
Remember the day I gave you Lucky Caffeine and then
My
like
name's Chandler.
Sydney and I just both
Today,
next
November
year,
10th,
like,
2015.
almost
Give me
hit
your correct
Chloe
answers.
in the head with a calculator.
maybe.
There's no question.
That was funny.
So therefore, they're gonna be.
So all you gotta do here is fill in the missing blank here. So pick A, B, C, or D on the formative. Yes, dear.
I know what it is.
Oh, you're supposed to do it on the formative.
But I already did it.
Then sit quietly. No, but if they ask you to prove something that's not proving two triangles are congruent, that's when you're going to use CP/CTC, because you're going to prove the triangles are congruent, and then you can prove any other corresponding sides and angles are congruent based on that. Does that make sense? So looking at what you're trying to prove, that's how I would know you were going to use corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Have we submitted yet?
The orders have been sketched.
The orders of
Can we
this.
do number 3 too?
Don't do number 3 yet.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
I mean, I guess you can, if you know already. It's actually
Wait
what the
a
next slide.
minute, wait a minute, oh wait.
Can I check yet? Have you
Yeah,
put
you
your
can check.
answers up?
You can check if you want, my answer's not up yet, but you can check.
Oh my gosh, sure.
Okay.
15 responses, it says your answer's up.
How good
But I
did you
also
answer?
responded like twice, so
Oh, you responded twice.
maybe you did 3, I don't know. There's no
Hey,
I had to go back.
everybody's
What
responding,
is
so
the change
maybe
every
one
time you
person,
do it?
one person responded twice.
Alright, I'm just gonna move on.
Hands up, not doing it.
Can we submit this?
I think it should be, angle side, right? Angle ADB, angle ACE, EC and DB, and angle A, just like our last one. So it's two angles and the side not included, because if it was angle, side, angle, it would have to be that side over there. So it has to be angle, side. So, to just summarize what we've done, and you don't have to write all these down, but you should at least write the letters, I think. Someone tell me one of the 4 ways that we can prove triangles are congruent. SAS, Garrett,
AAS.
angle, side, SSS. Well, someone, Chandler said. Which one am I missing?
You could say another one. Couldn't you say AAA?
No.
No, you can't.
Because
That only guarantees that they are similar, not congruent.
angle, side, angle. So, I don't know that you need to draw a little picture if you don't want to, but you need to at least write these 4 things down on your paper. Side, 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 angle, side, angle, and angle, side. Not, what letters are not acceptable? Angle, angle. Just does similarity and
Angle side,
side, angle, because we don't want to spell that word on our paper.
Angle side, side.
All right?
Can't do it. Gotta write it down. Just can't do it. I should have.
So the hard part is now, on the homework, like this last problem here that I have, you have all 4 that you could be using. So when they give you a proof, you can't say, oh, I know it's going to be side, 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 or I know it's going to be this. You have to take what they give you and use one of the 4. And depending on the problem, maybe more than one of them would work, just depending on what you see. So take a minute on this last one, and I want you to attempt this proof, or at least as much of this proof as you can, and I'm going to come around and look at your progress. Parallel lines should be a big hint of something to use. And maybe, what? Did you do the last question?
Yeah.
There's one more question on Go Formative if you haven't done it yet about the
Oh,
4
yeah, I
things.
selected the 4 ways.
The 4 ways, I just gave you the answers.
Who's winning?
And submit.
But yes, and then you can submit and put it away as you work on this last statement. And as I look at your proof, did I put the homework on here? Once I look at your proof, you can work on the homework, and maybe I'll give you candy. We'll see.
Oh.
But you can't complain about what candy you get. If you
What
can,
am I complaining?
if
I
you-
was just a little
if you
freaked out.
complain-
It's in a bag.
if you complain, I take your candy away.
I'm not complaining about the
chocolate.
quality,
You can
I'm
take chocolate.
complaining about the look, the sketchiness.
What still matters is what's on the inside counts.
That's not true.
This is
Not true.
When it comes to
That's
food,
not true.
I'm just gonna use Snickers.
There's other things that are necessary.
I had a donut once that was
it
really
might not look
pretty.
good, but it tastes good.
Gross.
Oh, right.
Taylor,
I love Snickers.
I think there's 2 ways you can prove this. I think there should be more. I think there should be at least 5 steps. Because in step 1, they don't really tell you any side or angle. You agree with me on that? Like just like they tell you this. I don't know. I think you should say like because I feel like you need to take that statement and say that the 2 angles are congruent because of a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to say the measure of angle G is congruent to the measure of angle J. Yes, they tell you they both equal 90, but you need to say you know they're congruent. So use your Old Testament test. How'd it go?
It's better person.
Ricky, they decided in college job for today that you're bringing down the whole calculus class to negatively. So
You're the one being negative.
we need you to uplift us all.
What you just said is negative. You all are negative. That is a negative thing to say.
It still sounds pretty negative.
I just said I did a good better job on that.
I know. Tomorrow, tell everyone.
What?
I'm super happy for it.
I'm not negative at calculus. I'm just tired of calculus.
I said in third afternoon that I feel like in calculus. And someone from calculus in my class said
Stones.
she's not in college.
I just guessed the first person I could.
Said I think it's great you bringing it. I forget what word they use. They use against it.
Depressing us.
Right. So we decided to all blame you for our name.
More like, well, I'm just gonna show you how I really am actually negative. Like, wow, he was never being negative. That's
I really hope you do better on this test.
I really
Oh, it'll make me quit being so negative with you. I'm really upset with you on last time.
Yeah, last chapter was bad.
I need you to get it together.
Yeah.
You have a McHugh named uphold.
Look,
You're bringing down the McHughes right now,
How
Brady.
much that? Check that out. Ooh, I confess. 50%. Ooh.
Finish it.
Ah.
I agree.
Later. See you later, alligator.
Now what? Like, what is the third step? So like step how do you know this is this?
Definition of
So you
congruent.
better produce these parallel lines to tell me
I
what
don't know.
I don't think that's important. I feel like we have a theorem that says all right angles are congruent, but
Definition of what?
I was gonna say you have right angles. I think I'm just gonna say substitution.
I mean, it already says measure of angle G equals measure of angle.
Oh, you want to say definition of congruent because you're changing equal to congruent?
I put definition of.
I mean, we already kind of said the same thing because they got the equal sign between them that connects them.
Okay, but to go from equal sign to congruent sign, then you at least have to say definition of congruent.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
So
yeah.
you have to say one of them.
You gotta go to
Definition of congruent segments, congruent angles, I guess.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So that's better than substitution, and you guys win.
Yeah. I know 1, 2, and 5. I don't know
Chris?
I got plus 2 stand.
No. We don't know perfect lines. I don't think it's a side. I don't think it's side by side.
Thanks very much.
So, we got the angle that they gave us. What else do we know?
We know that FH is
Geometry class.
Yeah, we got this reflexive side in there. Always use that. So I know that FH
I just figured that out.
is congruent to HF, I think actually. I don't. So if I was gonna say FH is congruent to HF,
Reflexive property.
If you want to switch it around, it could be just.
I know I wanted to say symmetric property because we changed the order, but it is the same side, so I'm gonna just say reflexive property. So I have an angle and I have a side, which means I'm not gonna be looking for another side because if I have one angle and one side, if I find another side, I've spelled a bad word. Yes. Which means I'm looking for another angle. I could either look for angle, angle, side, or I could look for angle, side, angle. Either one would work, I think, in this problem. But you have to use these parallel lines. If they give me that this line is parallel to this line, and I have this lovely transversal, alternate interior angles, or the other way, however you want to write it. Okay, both of those would be congruent. This side would also be congruent to that side, right? But if I mark those two, I can say that angle HFJ is congruent to angle FHG by alternate interior angles theorem. And then what did I do? Did I do angle, side, angle, or did I do angle, angle, side?
Angle, angle, side.
You tell me. Look what I have marked. I have this angle, I have this angle, I have this side. So that's angle, angle, side not in between. Be careful there. Angle, angle, side. Oh, I guarantee there will be at least one person on the test that writes ASS on the test. Guaranteed. And you don't even pay attention to it. I know you don't. But I try to tell you that so that you look back over it.
You're not concentrating.
No, I'm with you.
You're trying to
Totally.
Figure it out.
Concentrated on.
I feel like there's one teacher in this world that would write you up for it.
I wouldn't.
I'm not saying you, I'm saying like there's
There are only 9 questions here, but there's quite a few of them that are proofs because that's really what we're doing now, proving things. And this is like the last section that's full of proofs here. So work on these, all right? Make sure you get signed off your Chromebooks.